Commissioner Gordon, Bane has escaped.
The world has lied to you. It has convinced you that struggle is a curse, that pain is something to be avoided, that suffering is an unnecessary burden. But nothing strong was ever made in comfort. The greatest warriors, the sharpest minds, the most unbreakable spirits, all of them were forged in the crucible of adversity. The strongest metal is not shaped in the absence of fire, but by enduring it. It is hammered, twisted, and beaten into something formidable, something that cannot be broken, and so are you. Soft lives breed weak minds. Those who have never faced hardship, who have never been pushed beyond their limits, crumble the moment resistance strikes. They are like brittle iron, shattering at the first sign of pressure, but those who have walked through fire, who have embraced the suffering and allowed it to mold them, become something else entirely. They become steel, hardened, sharpened, unyielding. The fire does not destroy them, it purifies them. It burns away the weakness, leaving only the strength that was always there, waiting to be revealed. Most people fear the fire. They run from struggle, seeking comfort and ease, believing that safety is the highest virtue. But safety is an illusion. It robs you of your edge, dulls your instincts, weakens your spirit. The moment you start avoiding the fire, you begin your descent into fragility. You lose the ability to fight, to endure, to withstand the blows that life will inevitably deliver. Strength is not given. It is earned, and the price of that strength is pain. You have felt the fire before. The betrayals, the failures, the nights spent staring at the ceiling wondering if anything will ever change. The world has tried to break you. It has thrown everything at you, testing your resolve, seeing if you will shatter like glass or endure like steel. And in those moments you had a choice: wither under the heat or let it harden you. The weak look at hardship and see an end. The strong see a beginning. But strength alone is not enough. Raw metal is still useless until it is shaped, refined, and sharpened. Fire tempers, but the hammer gives form, and that hammer is discipline, repetition, and unrelenting will to improve. Every hit, every setback, every ounce of pressure molds you into something deadlier, something unstoppable. Most break under the hammer, begging for relief, pleading for an easy way out. But relief is not what creates strength. Resistance is. If you are willing to endure the process, to suffer through the strikes without breaking, you will emerge as something untouchable. There is no shortcut to this transformation, no secret formula, no easy road. The fire will burn, the hammer will strike, and you will want to give up. That is the moment that defines you. That is the threshold most will never cross. Weakness screams for mercy, but strength grits its teeth and takes another step forward. And that is why the strongest metal is rare. It takes more than most are willing to give. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The weak wallow in their suffering, cursing their misfortunes, seeking sympathy instead of solutions. But those who understand the fire, who welcome the heat, do not waste time on pity. They know that every scar tells a story of resilience. Every wound is proof that they have faced the fire and survived. And survival is not enough. To simply endure is to exist, to rise from the flame stronger than before. That is to live. This world does not reward the fragile. It does not bow to the timid or cater to the weak. It respects the unbreakable, the ones who refuse to yield, the ones who have been beaten but never defeated. And that respect is not given freely. It must be taken, earned, fought for. You do not get to claim strength without first proving yourself in the fire. And once you do, once you emerge forged in pain, nothing will ever be able to break you again. Those who avoid the fire will never understand what it means to be unshakable. They will spend their lives as soft metal, weak and easily bent by the forces around them. But you are not like them. You have known suffering. You have walked through hell and come out standing. And that means you are capable of more than you have ever imagined. The fire did not come to destroy you. It came to show you who you truly are. Strength does not arise from ease. The sharpest blades are not crafted in the absence of heat, and the strongest minds are not shaped by comfort. The human mind is like metal. It must be tested, pushed to its limits, beaten down and reforged through suffering before it becomes unbreakable. Controlled adversity is the fire that tempers it. Those who subject themselves to hardship deliberately, who step willingly into discomfort, cultivate a mind that cannot be shattered. They understand that pain, struggle, and difficulty are not enemies. They are the architects of resilience. Without suffering, the mind remains weak, untested, fragile. It bends under the slightest weight, crumbles under the smallest pressure. But through controlled adversity, through embracing voluntary struggle, the mind adapts. It learns that hardship does not mean defeat, that suffering is not the end, but a transformation. Every challenge faced, every obstacle endured, thickens the armor of resilience. And in time, that resilience becomes second nature, an instinct that refuses to yield no matter how great the burden. The strongest individuals are not those who have never suffered. They are those who have suffered intentionally. They do not wait for adversity to strike. They seek it out, knowing that voluntary struggle breeds an indomitable will. Whether it is physical hardship, mental endurance, or emotional discipline, controlled adversity is a choice that sharpens the mind into something formidable. It forces the mind to stretch, to break and repair itself stronger than before, to see suffering as a tool rather than a torment. The mind, like muscle, grows through resistance. If it is not pushed beyond its limits, it remains stagnant, weak, incapable of adaptation. But put it under strain, expose it to discomfort, force it to endure when every fiber of its being begs for relief, and watch what happens. Watch as it learns to withstand pressure, to thrive under hardship, to become something that no external force can break. The greatest warriors, thinkers, and leaders in history were not born resilient. They were forged in adversity, trained by hardship, disciplined by suffering. They understood that comfort breeds weakness and that resilience is a skill acquired through repeated exposure to struggle. They hardened their minds as one hardens steel, by striking it, bending it, pushing it past its breaking point until nothing remained but unshakable strength. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every hardship is a lesson. The weak avoid them, seek shelter from the storm, hoping for an easy path. The strong move toward them, knowing that resistance is the only thing that builds strength. They do not flinch in the face of suffering, they welcome it, because they know that through suffering they become more. Controlled adversity separates those who endure from those who fade. The difference between those who rise and those who crumble is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the willingness to embrace hardship, to see pain as a teacher rather than an enemy. Those who do this, who welcome the flames instead of running from them, emerge as something the world cannot bend. The mind learns from suffering. It does not forget the hardships it has survived, and with each one it grows more resistant to fear. more immune to weakness. The pain that once seemed unbearable becomes nothing more than a challenge to overcome, a lesson to be absorbed, and with every lesson, resilience is reinforced, built into the very fabric of one's existence. Adversity is not just an obstacle, it is a gift. It is the tool that separates the fragile from the unbreakable. Those who willingly step into controlled suffering do not merely survive, they become immune to the trials that destroy lesser minds. They learn to stand firm when others fall, to move forward when others retreat. They become what the fire intended them to be, unshakable. Struggle is nature's way of ensuring survival. Every species, every organism that has ever thrived has done so not by avoiding struggle, but by adapting to it. The human mind is no different. It was never designed for comfort, never meant to exist in a state of ease. It was built for challenge, shaped by adversity, refined through difficulty. Without struggle, there is no evolution, only decay. When forced into hardship, the mind does not retreat. It adapts. It finds ways to overcome, to endure, to transform. Struggle is the catalyst that pushes it beyond its limits, demanding new strategies, new strengths, new levels of resilience. Without struggle, the mind atrophies, growing soft, complacent, incapable of facing even the smallest obstacles. But when hardship arrives, when pressure mounts, it has no choice but to evolve. Most people fear struggle, believing it to be a burden rather than a necessity. But struggle is not a punishment, it is the refining fire that removes weakness. Those who understand this do not avoid hardship, they lean into it, they use it as fuel, as a tool to sharpen their instincts and strengthen their resolve. Struggle is not the enemy, it is the very thing that ensures survival. There is no progress without resistance. Every hardship faced is an opportunity to grow, to develop new skills, to build a mind that refuses to break. Struggle strips away what is unnecessary, leaving behind only what is essential. It forces the mind to become adaptable, to adjust to the conditions it is given rather than lament the ones it wishes for. The weak crumble under struggle because they have never trained their minds to withstand it. They believe adversity to be unfair, as though the world owes them ease. But the world owes nothing, and struggle is not optional. It will come for everyone, without mercy, without hesitation. The only difference is how one chooses to respond. The strongest minds were not born that way. They were built through pain, through hardship, through an unwillingness to surrender. They were shaped by the fire, by the pressure, by the relentless force of struggle that demanded adaptation. They did not ask for an easy road. They asked for the strength to walk any road, no matter how difficult. Struggle is nature's test. It does not care about intentions, about desires, about complaints. It demands action, adaptation, resilience. Those who meet its challenge rise above. Those who shrink from it disappear. The world has no place for those who refuse to adapt, and struggle ensures that only the strongest remain. To embrace struggle is to embrace transformation. Every hardship, every setback, every challenge is an opportunity to adapt, to grow, to become something greater. The weak see struggle as suffering. The strong see it as training, and in that difference lies everything. Struggle is the fire that tempers steel, the force that carves mountains, the pressure that turns coal into diamonds. Without it, there is no evolution, no progress, no strength. It is not an obstacle, it is the process of becoming. No raw material is valuable in its natural state. Ore is extracted, but it is useless until refined. Stone is jagged until it is cut and polished. The same is true for the human mind. Without pressure, without difficulty, without the constant force of struggle, weakness remains embedded in the core. It is difficulty that strips it away, that reveals what is strong underneath. Those who fear hardship, who resist pressure, are not preserving their strength, they are preserving their weakness. The process of becoming something greater is not gentle. It is violent, relentless, and unforgiving. The weakest parts of you must be burned away, crushed under the weight of experience, shattered by the forces that demand you evolve. Every hardship faced is a hammer's strike against the brittle fragments that hold you back. And with each blow, something stronger begins to emerge. The pressure does not break you. It removes what was never meant to last. Most people avoid difficulty because they believe it is an enemy. They think that pain, exhaustion, and struggle are signs they should stop. But difficulty is not an enemy. It is a mirror. It shows you exactly where you are weak, exactly what needs to be reinforced, exactly where you are still fragile. The pressure reveals the truth that comfort tries to hide, and in that truth lies the key to transformation. Pressure forces you to change. It does not wait for permission, nor does it care for your protests. It applies force until you either break or adapt. This is why only the few become great, because only the few are willing to withstand the pressure long enough to let it do its work. The masses crumble under its weight, complaining about the unfairness of the process. But those who understand its purpose do not resist. They lean into it. They let it refine them. Weakness thrives in the absence of pressure. When nothing is demanded of you, when no hardship forces you to act, you remain stagnant. You do not sharpen your mind, you do not strengthen your will, you do not test your limits. You exist, but you do not evolve. The ones who become great are not the ones who were born strong. They are the ones who embraced difficulty, who allowed it to carve away everything that was soft, everything that was weak, everything that was unnecessary. Strength is not the absence of weakness. It is what remains after weakness has been burned away. Pressure does not create strength. It reveals it. It forces you to acknowledge what you are still holding on to, what you are still afraid to let go of. And until you face that pressure, you will never know how much of your identity is still built on fragile foundations. If you want to grow, you must submit yourself to pressure. You must seek it out, invite it, use it to your advantage. Do not run from difficulty. Run toward it. Every moment of hardship, every ounce of resistance is another step toward eliminating what is weak inside of you. Pressure is not something to be feared. It is something to be mastered. There is no easy way to become strong, no shortcut, no secret formula. The path is written in difficulty, in adversity, in pressure that never lets up. And those who endure it, who allow it to do its work, emerge as something unshakable. They do not just survive, they become indestructible. The pressure will come whether you welcome it or not. It will find you, test you, strip you down to nothing, and in that moment you will have a choice. Break under its weight or let it carve away everything that is holding you back. Those who fear pressure never rise. Those who embrace it cannot be stopped. Nothing valuable is created in its raw form. A diamond is nothing but a dull stone until it is cut, shaped, and refined. Gold is just metal until it is purified in the furnace. A mind that has never faced trials remains undeveloped, incapable of greatness. Perfection is not born, it is carved, scraped, and shaped through hardship. To resist trials is to resist growth. To embrace them is to unlock the true potential hidden within. Friction is uncomfortable, yet it is necessary. The rough edges of stone are smoothed by grinding, just as the flaws in character are removed through adversity. The process is painful, relentless, and at times unbearable. But the alternative is stagnation. Without trials, without struggle, without the repeated blows of hardship, nothing sharpens. The untested remain weak, dull, and unrefined. Most people look at hardship as misfortune. They curse their struggles, complain about the weight of their burdens, and envy those who seem to move through life unchallenged. But what they fail to understand is that ease is the enemy of strength. It is not comfort that builds resilience. It is challenge. It is not leisure that sharpens character. It is suffering. Those who endure trials without breaking become unshakable. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of suffering is another pass of the blade against the grindstone. The weak see this process as punishment. The strong see it as transformation. They know that each trial, no matter how painful, is refining them into something better, something sharper, something untouchable. The process cannot be rushed. A gem is not polished in a day. It is cut over and over, shaped with precision, refined through pressure and friction. Likewise, a man is not perfected overnight. He must face adversity again and again, each challenge removing another layer of weakness, exposing another level of strength. Those who wish to be great must be willing to endure this process without resistance. The fire does not ask if you are ready. The hammer does not wait for permission. The grindstone does not care for your comfort. If you want to be something greater, you must submit yourself to the trials that will shape you. You must let the world test you, break you, and rebuild you. And if you do, you will emerge as something beyond what you ever thought possible. Adversity is not an obstacle. It is the road to mastery. Every difficulty faced, every pain endured, every moment of doubt conquered is another step toward perfection. Those who seek comfort will never understand this. They will remain unfinished, raw, unpolished. But those who embrace the trials, who see suffering as a necessary tool, will become what others cannot. Pain is the price of transformation. There is no avoiding it, there's no shortcut. The process is long, the trials relentless, but the outcome is undeniable. A raw stone becomes a masterpiece only after enduring the fire, the blade, the grind. A man becomes something formidable only after enduring suffering, failure, and discipline. If you seek to be something greater, do not pray for ease. Pray for trials. Pray for resistance. Pray for the friction that will carve away your weakness and reveal your strength. That is the only way to become something that cannot be broken. Pain separates the worthy from the weak. Those who cower in the face of discomfort, who avoid hardship in pursuit of an easy life, are the first to break when the world turns against them. They collapse under pressure, unprepared for the trials they never had the courage to face. But those who embrace suffering, who see pain as the toll for greatness, develop an edge that cannot be dulled. They do not flinch in the face of adversity. They welcome it, knowing that every wound endured is another layer of armor. The world is not kind to the fragile. It does not pause to accommodate weakness, nor does it offer mercy to those who refuse to build their strength. Life does not care for your comfort. It will test you repeatedly, without concern for whether you are ready. And when that test comes, Those who have trained in pain will rise, while those who have avoided it will fall. The price for strength is steep, but the cost of weakness is far greater. Pain is not an enemy, it is a teacher. It is the fire that burns away delusion, the hammer that shapes resilience, the weight that forces growth. Those who resist it learn nothing, gain nothing, become nothing. But those who lean into it, who let it carve them into something stronger, will find themselves standing while others fall. The lessons pain teaches are invaluable, but they are only given to those who have the courage to endure.